Hey guys, it's Gege. Welcome back to my channel. This is just a quick intro to an updated foundation routine. Okay guys, so we're going to be going into the Fenty products, Fenty foundation. I'm in 385 and the Fenty primer. And I'm going to do an updated routine, foundation routine, and the foundation, the powder, the highlight, the whole 9 yards. I've got a lot of new subscribers and I've had some questions, some messages sent to me, people asking questions about how to apply foundation and the highlight and all that. So we're going to go step by step and I'm going to show you my routine and you can take from it, you know, and practice and see what works best for you. Right now I'm just placing the primer back on my face because I had done a look, tried to do a look earlier, but I had to wipe that off, and so I'm just replacing the primer. But you put your primer all over your face because your primer is what helps your makeup to stick and stay on your face. Now, if you use moisturizer after you cleanse your face, if you're really dry and you use moisturizer, you can use your moisturizer and you can put your makeup on top of it. But depending on how it works for you, if your makeup doesn't stay or if it separates or something, try a primer. Okay, I did say Fenty in 385. This is my shade. I put some on the back of my hand and it's kind of runny. And this is the Fenty brush, foundation brush. So I'm just going to use the primer and the brush and everything and see how I like it. Now I know that this foundation is not going to be the full coverage from what I've saw in reviews, because this is not anything new. This is Fenty has been out. I'm just not one to jump on the bandwagon as soon as things come out, because I know that a lot of these things are not geared for women of my age. I'm 53, so I have different needs, and so I just take my time, and if it's something in that cosmetic line that interests me, then I may try some other products, but it really hadn't been. I have a Fenty bronzer. I have a Fenty bronzer that I use every now and then. But I don't care for her eyeshadows. I don't know what the formula is of them, but I just don't care for the shade collection. So I hadn't been interested in purchasing it. So I'm just placing this all over my face, and as you can see, it is not full coverage. So I'm gonna have to go in with some more, which I know I'm probably gonna have to add my MAC to it. But if you like a really light foundation, which a lot of my ladies do, they like a really light foundation, and then you will probably like this. Okay, so we are still just building this up. I haven't even got to the neck yet because I see my moles just like this is a BB cream or something for me. Which I don't have any problem with this foundation because I had already suspected that from the reviews, you know, this was not a full coverage from the reviews that I saw. So I didn't get the impression that it was. So I know that I've got to build this up for me. I like to go back in with my beauty blender and just blend and smooth out everything, because with that foundation, the brush kind of left some streaks. But even if it was another foundation, I like to go in and just smooth out everything. And I still have a little on the back of my hand, and I just go in and just smooth it out. I take my foundation down my neck so everything can be one shade. But if it bothers you, sometimes people get irritated on their neck and all that, then, you know, Just try to get a good match, so you're not two-tone. Your face is one color, your neck is another. And we are just blending. Once I've got my foundation on, I go right into my contour and my highlight. Now I place my contour right around my forehead. And when you're contouring, you're shading. Like if you have a very large forehead and you want it to appear smaller, then you would shade it. You would put your contour around your forehead and it would shade it and give an appearance of a smaller forehead. Say for instance, just under here, like I have this, I call it a gobble gobble, from gaining weight and eating. So I contour this because what I'm doing is shading that to the point where you when you look at me, it won't be the first thing you see because it's not highlighted, it's not standing out, it's shaded back. So that's what I'm doing right now. And giving myself some cheekbones. Since originally I just have a fat face, I'm pretty much carving out me some cheekbones. Okay, and also you can contour your nose. Sometimes I contour my nose. And then I like to bring my contour all the way up into my eye socket. And I try to blend that in so it'll look as natural as possible. Okay, next I highlight. Now I'm going to go in with the MAC Full Coverage, and what I'm going to do is help to conceal first. And I have bags under my eyes, and I don't get enough sleep, so any discoloration and bags, I go ahead and place my concealer there. And when you highlight, you're doing the same thing that I'm doing with this concealer. You're just using a lighter color, and I'll show you that. I'll put a lighter color there so you can see it, exactly what I'm talking about. Now, okay. Now I'm going to go in with a lighter color because I want to highlight. And when you highlight, you're bringing out. That's what you want to stand out. Now I'm not going to put very much because this is not exactly what I want to stand out, because I have bags and I have lines and all that under there. But the light naturally hits your face in these areas where I'm placing this highlight. So that's why on a lot of these makeup videos, you'll see the young ladies highlighting these areas, because that's where the light naturally hits the face. And now I'm going to go in with my highlight, and I am going to blend it. And you see how that lightens up my eye? And you just blend it out. Now you also see that when I highlight, it shows all the wrinkles, the creases, and all that. That's why I only conceal underneath. I don't necessarily highlight all the time because I don't want all that to show. But on younger women who don't have those concerns, you can highlight it and it just brings it out. You see my highlighted area and you see my contoured areas. I'm sorry, I mean you see my highlighted area and you see my low lighted areas. My low light is where I've placed the dark contour, and my highlight is where I've placed the light, where the light naturally hits the face. And right now I'm just blending it in because I'm going to go in with my setting powder and I'm going to set underneath my eyes really quickly because your eyes tend to crease. The liquid gets inside of your creases and it starts to crease up underneath your eyes. So you want to, before you go in and set it, be sure to get that out. Just like my forehead up here, I have wrinkles. So before I set that, because if I just go in and put the powder, it's gonna set that wrinkle right in there. I have to go in and make sure that that foundation and concealer and stuff is blended out of that wrinkle, out of that line, so it's smooth, then set it with the powder. Because if you set it with the powder before then, that's it. Now I'm gonna have some wrinkles under here because of my age. You know, it's not a miracle worker. It's just to help. It's makeup. But I don't have to help it out by not smoothing out my concealer before I do that. And then I go in and place my powder. Now, I know you hear about baking and things. And I can't bake because I am an older woman. And when I bake underneath my eyes, it dries my eyes out. And that's automatically looking horrible. So I just go in with a light little bit of the setting powder and I go in and I set underneath my eyes. Okay, then what's left in my cap, I go in and I set where I've highlighted. Now remember where the light naturally hits my face, where I put the lighter color, my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, underneath my eyes, I've already set it, and then my chin. Those are the places that I've highlighted, so I go ahead and set those with a lighter powder because I'm highlighting that. So I want a lighter powder so it can stand out. Now I've placed my foundation, I've concealed, I've highlighted, I've contoured, I've done everything. So now I want to set this face, and I'm going to set it with a powder because that's what's going to keep my liquid on my face. My liquid, meaning my concealer and all that other stuff, I call it liquid. But that's what's going to keep my liquids on my face. This is my powder, so I'm going to set my face with my powder. A lot of people like to just use a brush and go in and set your face all over like that. I'm old school. I use a red sponge. I'm old school. I'm 53. You know, when we started makeup, this is what we had. So I like to go in first with a talc powder, and this is just my preference. When I was coming up in makeup, drag queens was where I learned, you know, my makeup from. And so I was taught to use, you know, at the time we didn't have powders for every shade, you know, of our complexion. So baby powder is what I started off using, and I just put some on my sponge and I go and I set all over my face. Once I've done that, then I go back in with my MAC powder, and sometimes I may use a brush, but 9 times out of 10 I'll use my red sponge and I'll go over my face and reset it again. Okay, so after I've already done my cream contour, you don't have to do this step. It's just a step I like to do. It's my foundation routine. So I go in with my powder contour. And what I do is I just use my bronzer to do it. And this is a Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. And I just hit those areas where I'm low lighting, I'm shading, around the forehead. I'm bronzing in those cheeks. And I go under my chin because I'm low lighting that, so that's not the first thing you see. And then I'll take it and very lightly just brush up on my nose contour, right where I put the cream. And this is my updated foundation routine. Now I use this Fenty today. This is not what I usually use for my foundation. But like I said, if you like a really light foundation, a light coverage, this is it. Now it sits really pretty and all that, but I like a full coverage. I can see my moles, and I'll always see the impression of my moles, but I don't actually see my moles when I use my other foundations. I really like for them to be covered up. But for a natural skin-like, it seems really good. It seems like a really good foundation. But otherwise, this is my updated routine. If you have any questions, if you want me to try any new products, just let me know, and I will holler at you guys.